Hi, everyone. My name is Josh Dotson. I am the Industry 4.0 leader for Koch Ag and Energy Solutions. We are a global leader in commercial fertilizer, nitrogen-based fertilizer. Our vision as a company is to maximize the long-term value of our existing businesses. And one of the ways that we think we can do that is through digitalization. Industry 4.0 is a critical enabler for us to maximize long-term value, and that is part of why we partnered with Cognite. One of our operations visions is to build the fleet of the future. So we operate 7 fertilizer plants around the world, and we believe that the fleet of the future is connected, automated, and integrated. And the only way that we can do that is through harnessing the power of data. So, as part of our digitization journey, we've been thinking through this mental model where currently the way we do work is very siloed and manual. We have manual processes that we go through where we need to go pull operational data through various systems. A human has to consume that information and then go do something with it. We believe that in the future, the data is kind of automated through our data pipelines. It's connected within a graph database, and then we can build automation and other applications on top of our connected data to democratize the knowledge that's been built into these knowledge systems. As a company, we made a bet that the future state is going to be better than the current state using this type of mental model. One of the primary things that we made a bet on is that we're not purely betting on the tool. We're not purely betting on the platform. We're betting on the more enabled future state for our employees across the entire company. We believe that connecting the data allows for easier access to this information, allows faster insights, it allows for automation, it allows for better decisions quicker. So an example of our disconnected and siloed data is through our work prioritization process. We have our equipment information in one system, we have our CMMS information in another system, we have our historian data in another system. We have our technical documentation in another system. We have our past plans in another system. And so in order for us to prioritize the work, somebody needs to go into each of these systems, pull this information together, whether it be historical work orders, the real-time operating information, past repair plans. All of this data needs to be pulled together from its individual silos, manually evaluated in order for us to then go determine what work we're going to do. This happens both on a micro scale at the specific work order level, but also at the macro scale as we're talking about prioritizing which work order do we do or which work orders do we add to our turnaround scope holistically. So as we embarked on this journey to build the fleet of the future for Case, we were evaluating many options for the best way to get there. A few of the things that were key to us is speed of deployment, the ability to contextualize our information across our various systems in a relatively automated way. We didn't want to do any manual contextualization, and also the ability to keep up with the pace of rapidly changing technology. We all know that artificial intelligence is coming at us, and we realized it's not our comparative advantage as a fertilizer manufacturing company to go try to build a solution that does all these things or try to keep up with the technology that's coming at us. So we decided to partner with a company that this is their comparative advantage, and that was Cognite. Part of our journey so far after we've partnered with Cognite, it's been about 6 months at this point. And within those 6 months, we were able to fully stand up the foundation. We were able to contextualize over 500,000 of our engineering documents, our engineering files, including our P&IDs, PFDs, plot plans. We were able to contextualize over 250,000 of our time series data, and then over 7 years of work order history. We've also been able to consume, and we're working on contextualizing terabytes of our 3D and visual data. We were able to contextualize all of these things to the assets, which within 5 or 6 months is pretty incredible. We are actively in the process of deploying the user interface to the end users out at all the facilities. And we've seen a very, very high trajectory of adoption, and we anticipate it continuing to grow. Now, let me show you an example of how we use Cognite Data Fusion in our daily work. So one of the initial ways that we are using the canvas is to generate job packages for our work orders from our CMMS system. So what we have here is the beginning of a job package where we have the work order information, we have the asset information, and the relative or the relevant PNID pulled up for this asset. As we're building out our job packages, we like to highlight where it is, both on the PNID and within associated pictures. And all of these things have been contextualized within Cognite and associated with the asset. So what I will do here is add the downstream PNID to the canvas, and then I will find related data associated with this asset. So I'm looking for some files specifically. So I think what I'm going to do is look for the paint procedure. I'm going to add that to the canvas. And then in addition, I'm going to ask some questions. So I want to know what the metallurgy of this heat exchanger is. And so what Copilot is doing is it is looking through all the documents that are associated with this heat exchanger, pulling out relevant material and highlighting where it found that information. So I'm going to copy this and I will add that to the canvas in a sticky note for my techs as they're going out to work on this asset. I'm going to send this now to myself to remind myself that I have this work order to go work on. Send the comment, and now I will receive an email. So as we are working through our job packages, what we do is then go download this as a PDF, and there's functionality in here that lets you rearrange what order these these items on the canvas are shown. So I want to show the work order, the asset, and then the PNID, and then some of the pictures. So I'm going to download this. And after it downloads, we now have a PDF that we can go attach to the work order within our CMMS system that the techs can now start using in the field. And you'll see that this download still includes all of the markups that we did within the canvas. So the box around the heat exchanger, the notes that I added, the marks on the picture. And so the first page is just the full canvas, but when you scroll down a little bit, you can see that each item on the canvas is shown as its own individual card. Again, including the work order or the markups. So we've got the PNID, we've got the markups here, we've got the pictures with the markups, and everything else that was on the canvas. So we'll then go take this and attach it to the work order in our CMMS system. So that was just a short example of how we use Canvas in our daily work. To contrast what we just saw in Canvas versus what we used to do. We used to have to go into our individual systems where our equipment files are, our CMMS system, our document markup system, and download all of these files, pull them all into one place manually from all these various systems, go mark them up in a separate system, save them back to our desktop again, and then go rearrange the pages if we needed to, and then go add them to the maximum work order. So just from a job package optimization perspective, we've seen massive increases in efficiency. We don't know that we would have been able to do this had we not partnered with Cognite and contextualized our asset information. So as we continue to grow and evolve in our partnership with Cognite, there are a lot of things on the horizon for us. Two of the primary things that we want to focus on are digitized asset strategies and digitized risk management. So we currently have our asset strategies in relatively static format, and we go execute those using our various operating systems, whether it be our CMMS, our operating limits management tool, or other systems. And so we believe that in the relatively near future, we can start to pull those systems in and tie them to our digital asset strategies to create a holistic view of the health of our assets. From a risk perspective, we know that we are living with invisible risk right now. That goes unseen because it lives in various systems. So we have our deferrals, our impairments, our leaks, our operating limit excursions. All of these things are in various systems, and it's almost impossible for anybody to pull all this information together and see a comprehensive view of the risk that we are actively carrying. And so that is another key focus area for us within the next couple of years. All of these things are made possible through our partnership with Cognite, and we believe that we'll get there faster than we ever could have if we had tried to go build all of these things internally. We believe that our fleet of the future vision that is fully Automated, connected, and integrated is completely achievable through our partnership with Cognite. We believe that getting there will help us turn our data into dollars, and we are very excited about this journey. Thank you very much.